Don't make a sound. Please don't tell me now. I got to stand my ground, my ground. I know I'm not a child. Please don't fail me now.
Hello and welcome along to Inside the WSL in a week where England had their shooting boots on once again in the World Cup qualifiers. 2 matches, 15 goals scored, not a single goal conceded. We'll be rounding up the home nations, how they got on, and the Republic of Ireland as well. We've also got interviews with Gilly Flagty and Chloe Kelly, who's battled back from one of the worst injuries in the game. As well as all of that, we've also got a special guest. Aston Villa manager Cara Ward joins us this week. Carla probably still smiling after a massive 3 points in the WSL last time out. Good to see you. Aston Villa got back to winning ways after no wins in 4. The international break has come at the wrong time for you, hasn't it?
Hasn't it just? And didn't it for the last 2 international breaks? I think I said to the girls, the last 2 wins we had were prior to an international break. So, yeah, frustrating, not the greatest time. But, no, we were delighted to get 3 points because, don't get me wrong, the game was ugly. Wasn't the greatest spectacle. But actually, we've played some really good football since Christmas. So I think it's on the back of some work that's been going in. And we were delighted, I must admit.
After conceding that late goal against Chelsea a couple of games ago, you said it felt like being dumped. You got a late goal this time around. How did it feel?
I was delighted, I'll be honest. We've sort of, when we made the changes, we didn't really want to settle for a point. We felt like either team were there for the taking. So when obviously Pets just popped up at the back post, I did my usual down the touchline. I was delighted. But you know what? I think I was more happy for the players because they've put an awful lot of work in recently, and they've shown great attitude, a great togetherness, and, willingness and understanding that we're on a journey, and they've looked after each other. So I was delighted for them. But yeah, I must admit, I enjoyed that one.
We've missed pictures of you running down the old touchline in celebration. It's been a few weeks, Carla. Now, that was another win away from home. 16 of your 20 points have come whilst being on the road. Just 1 win in 9 home games. What is that down to?
I honestly don't know. And to be honest with you, Jess, I've tried changing quite a few things at home and the players laugh. I've tried changing the changing rooms, the side of the pitch we warm up on, different elements. I'm quite superstitious, but none of them are working. So, I need to adjust that. But no, listen, it's something we can't quite put our finger on. But FAWSL is a great pitch, great little stadium. We love it there, but obviously we don't like losing there. So we've got to turn it round. Manchester United are next, and hopefully we can do it then.
Yeah, Manchester United next. 3 games left of the season. When you look at the WSL table, I wonder, how pleased are you? You got 6 wins on the board, 2 draws, sitting there with 20 points in 9th place. So you're safe from relegation. How do you sum up the season so far?
Look, I think we've made good progress. We come in. When I came in the summer, I knew what was expected. We've achieved that. We now want to kick on. We know we're in a good place. We've got a good group of players. We've got an unbelievable football club that support us and allow us, the opportunity to progress as elite athletes. So, I think that overall, do we think we could have got a few more points on the board? Absolutely. But look, don't we all? I think that every manager will say the same. But overall, yes, we're pleased. But, we haven't finished yet. We've got 3 games left. We want to try and get points from all 3. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. And that's going to be the mentality. We're asking players to step up again for the last 3 games, the same with the staff. So that's exactly what we're going to go and try and do and try and get points on the board, as many as we can between now and the end of the season.
What about you personally? How are you enjoying this roller coaster ride of being a WSL manager? I say manager, although your Twitter profile says you're a head coach. Is there a difference? And how are you enjoying developing in this role?
I've just changed it, Jess, for you. There's a very clear difference for me. I think a manager and a head coach. I think the manager, it's not just about what goes on out on the pitch. It's about what you do day to day, managing 24 players, 15 staff, communicating with the board, the FA and everything else that comes with it. I think naturally then you have to set the game plan, you have to pick the team, but you've also got good coaches around you that you need them to go out and deliver then the detail of what you want. So, I think there is a clear difference. And I think it's really important that then you get the right coaches in to allow you to manage. And that's certainly something I enjoy.
Building momentum, and then all of a sudden the old international break comes in to halt your momentum and your progress. Not to worry. Some of your players, though, have been on international duty to qualify for the World Cup next year. Let's just take a look at how the home nations and Republic of Ireland have got on so far. There was a massive point for your midfielder, Arisha Littlejohn, and her Republic of Ireland team against the number 2 in the world, Sweden. 1-1 draw for them, puts them third in their group. They're 2 points behind Finland, but they do have a game in hand, so they're still very much in contention for a playoff spot. Scotland, on the other hand, lost 2-0 to Spain, who, they're one of the favourites for the Euros. That was always going to be a tough match, wasn't it? But the positive news was that it was a record home crowd for a women's competitive match at Hampden Park. Scotland now need 2 wins from their final 2 games to guarantee that playoff spot that they're currently in. As for Wales, a loss to France and a win against Kazakhstan leaves them second in that playoff spot. So they're now just 2 wins away from a first ever women's major tournament. And we have to give a shout out as well to Tash Harding. She scored on her 100th appearance and becomes the 5th Welsh woman to become a Centurion. Congratulations, Tash. Record crowd in Scotland. There was also a record crowd in Northern Ireland. More than 15,000 people inside Windsor Park, but sadly, they will not be at the World Cup next summer after 2 defeats in their 2 qualifiers. So it's a shame, isn't it, after their historic Euros qualification campaign. England, though, sitting pretty at the top of the group. Just look at that goal difference, plus 68. They can confirm qualification with a draw against Austria in the next game in September. Well, as I mentioned there, Carla, speaking about Northern Ireland, I think it's been overshadowed somewhat what they've achieved over the last few months by their manager, Kenny Shiels, who's made some comments about women's footballers conceding goals in quick concession because they react too emotionally to the first goal going in. He's since apologised. The players have said collectively they still support him. But, if you was a player in that team, maybe you don't say it publicly, but what would you be thinking? What would you be feeling?
It's a tough one. I mean, isn't emotion what makes our sport great? I think it'd be very strange to watch a game of football without emotion, no matter what gender you are. I think that for me, what would sport be without emotion? I saw obviously the captain's comments and it's in context, something obviously that's gone on behind closed doors naturally has come out. And what I would say is, well, his comments were obviously emotional themselves. So, it's one of those things. But look, I believe no matter what gender you are, we crave emotion in the sport. We really do.
Is Kenny Shiels here just pointing out, that there are subtle differences between female footballers and male footballers? Or, is he just reinforcing negative stereotypes?
No, I think he's probably highlighting that, us women, we can be emotional, but so can men. You look at the Man City Atletico game, for example, that was probably one of the most emotionally charged last 20 minutes I've seen in a game of football of late. Ronaldo walking down and obviously clipping the phone out of that young lad's hands last week. I think that's also emotion, it's part and parcel. You've probably seen some of my post-match interviews where sometimes I'm a little bit emotional. I'm not sure, in what context, but certainly I would say that, you definitely don't want to remove emotion. Otherwise, what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. Emotion is what keeps us watching and keeps us in love with the game, doesn't it? Now, back then, I mentioned, didn't I, England's World Cup qualifying campaign, 68 goals scored, not a single one conceded. And I bet you a certain Chloe Kelly was watching that thinking, I wish I was involved. She's just battled back and got herself back onto the pitch after almost a year out. And she's been speaking to Caroline Barker.
Right then, Chloe Kelly, I had a look at my Twitter and you were trending. I'm sure you've been trendy before, but all clearly because you were back in the team, back on the pitch. What was it like for you stepping back onto the pitch?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It's been a long time coming and I was just so excited to get back out there with the team and, thankful for the manager to give me the opportunity to play 30 minutes back on the pitch with the girls, and I'm excited for the next one now.
Those 11 months, gosh, when you actually say it, 11 months, even that feels like a long time. Were there points during that where you did feel, this is just taking forever.
Yeah, of course, but looking back at it, it has flown by. But yeah, there's times, difficult moments where, yeah, you do feel like giving up, and rehab is a lonely place, and you've got to have the right people around you, which I did to get me through those tough times. But yeah, I'm at the end of that now, and looking back, I've learnt so much about myself and how far I can push my body, but I feel in a good place now. And 11 months, yeah, it did fly by for me because I had the right people around me, and I think that's the best thing that I could have had.
For your family, what did they say to you in that moment when they heard you were going to be back on the pitch?
Yeah, they was all there. They was all, because the game was down south as well, so all my family were there, and they'll be at the next one as well. But they hadn't seen me play in the City shirt before because of lockdown and everything, so it was actually the first time seeing me play for Man City. So yeah, it was brilliant to have my family there, and yeah, I thank them as well because they really got me through this journey, and I'm thankful for them for being around in the tough times and celebrate the good times together too.
This team that you must have seen evolve, how difficult was it sitting on the sidelines thinking, I can't change some of those early results, I can't have that effect on the pitch for this team?
Yeah, it was very difficult, especially at the start, and I was only at the start of my rehab then, and things maybe weren't going as well, but you're just trying to be positive for the team. And yeah, I have a very good relationship with Gareth Taylor, so it was a case of being positive around the group, and he would come to me and ask some details as well, like how I settled into the group, helping the players like Ruby Mace coming in, how I adapted to that as well. So it was great to still feel involved in the group while I was injured, which yeah, you could be injured and you're not seen then, but I felt like part of the group. But also I spent a lot of time away from Man City doing my rehab, which I think it allowed me to just focus on myself and focus on my rehab and not trying to rush back to help the team, because in that moment you need to kind of be selfish and yeah, this is my injury and I can't rush it because the future's ahead. How
pleased are you as someone that has sat and watched what they went through to see just how they've wrestled back this season?
Yeah, and I think that's the making of a great team. We stuck together in the tough moments where people doubted us, and we didn't for 1 minute doubt ourselves, and that's the biggest thing. As a group, I think we really stuck together this season as a coaching group and playing group. So yeah, I think it's been a tough season, but we've showed our quality the second half of the season, and going forward, yeah, we want to win the FA Cup. And we want to fight for Champions League. We know it's maybe not in our hands, but we fight for every game and we get our goal difference up. We got the FA Cup semi-final to play for, and yeah, at the start of the season, we probably still thought that we'd get there, but other people doubted us, but we, yeah, for 1 minute didn't doubt ourselves.
Well, Carla, as Chloe mentioned there, it can be quite a lonely place rehabbing from injury. I know you've got experience of that as a player as well. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible. And I think, like she alluded to then, you need your friends, you need your family. I think most WSL clubs now have got performance lifestyle coaches, which help from a mental point of view. But no, I think she's done unbelievable well to get back. You know, the form she was in, it didn't come at the right time, but I have no doubt whatsoever. You know, she's young enough. She's got the right head on her shoulders that she'll come back, and I have no doubt whatsoever that she'll play a big part for England at the Euros.
Ah, you're backing her to get in the squad, are you?
I am, yeah. I said when she got injured, actually, if she gets back playing before the season, it'd be very difficult to keep her out. And I know we're not far away, but look, if Chloe Kelly is fit and ready, then I think she has to, 100%, she has to be in that squad.
Nice. Well, you heard it here first on Inside the WSL. We're backing Chloe Kelly to get into that England squad. Absolutely fantastic. 11 months out of the game she's had. Really good to see her back on the pitch with a smile on her face. Someone else who's smiling at the moment, West Ham captain Gilly Flaherty has just racked up 100 appearances for the club and shows no signs of slowing down. We'll hear from her next. Welcome back to Inside the WSL. We still have Carla Ward with us, who's joined us this week. Let's just focus on managers for a moment, though, shall we? Because there's been a couple of interesting stories that have come out in the last few days, with the Everton announcing a new permanent manager. Brian Sorensen will join from next season from Danish side Ventura Uring. That's on a 2-year deal. Good news as well for Rianne Skinner. She's got a new deal at Spurs, which will keep her at the club until 2024. So big congratulations to Rianne, also to Brian as well. Now, Carla, there was a time when we didn't really focus too much on what managers were doing at WSL clubs. Now we kind of promote the fact that they've signed contract extensions. With this added coverage that's come in the last couple of seasons, there's bound to be added scrutiny as well. So how do you deal with that as a manager?
Yeah, I think, listen, it comes with a job. Naturally, as the game grows, there's always going to be added pressure. It's something I embrace, I'm not going to lie. And I think I remember Emma Hayes telling me once that you have to work every day like it's your last, make decisions like it's your last. And I try to do that. And ultimately, it makes you better every day. You have to try and surround yourself with good people that are going to strive and kick you on. And that's exactly what I try to do. So, yeah, it's look, like I said, it's a pressured environment now, but that's what we love about it. You know, like I said, I strive under pressure, I embrace it. So, I might not say that if I'm without a job at any point, but no, I like pressure, and I understand it's part of the job. It really is. And the way the game's going, the pressure will get ramped up more and more.
Yeah, with more scrutiny comes more pressure. Now, one player who knows all about dealing with pressure is Gilly Flaherty. She's been a mainstay in the WSL over the years. She played in the very first game between Arsenal and Chelsea 11 years ago. And just recently, she's racked up 100 appearances for her club, West Ham. There she is receiving her special commemorative jersey. But she says she wants to play even more, as Lindsay Hooper found out.
Gilly, we saw you get presented with a shirt for your 100 West Ham appearances at the weekend just gone. But I want to talk to you about your further ambitions, because I know you've got your eyes set on another benchmark when it comes to appearances in WSL overall. Yeah,
obviously every time a player gets 150, obviously Barclays put up where the list is and where you are. So currently I'm sitting in second, so I'm just behind Jill Scott. But my aim's to get to 200.
That means you can't retire anytime soon?
Not yet. I've still got to try and get another 2 seasons out of me yet, just so I can safely try and hit 200, yeah.
I think it's a great opportunity, actually, to reflect back on the entirety of your WSL career and beyond, because, of course, you played when it wasn't even known as WSL. For you to accelerate so quickly to joining Arsenal, you made a first appearance for them at just 15, didn't you?
Yeah, so I moved to Arsenal at 13, and then I was in the under-14s with Becky Spencer as well. That's obviously when we first become friends. So I was there then, and then I went to the 16s, and then in my last year, the 16s, I was with the 16s on a Saturday, and then I was with the first team on a Sunday. That was my whole weekend, and yeah, my debut was against Birmingham in the League Cup. And I remember coming on and my first thought was just, do not lose the ball. Like, I had Vic Akers on the side and I was thinking, I just can't lose the ball. Like, if I go through this game without touching it, like, I'll be happy. And I remember getting the ball and I remember just, like, side volleying it out to the left back. I think it was Mary Phillips at the time. And I remember Vic afterwards just saying, like, you'll be fine here. But yeah, that was my debut for Arsenal.
Yeah, you were there for that quadruple. What do you remember about the furore in the build-up to it at the time?
Do you know, I probably was like, well, I was 15, so it was like I didn't have no awareness of how big of a stage that was. And I remember we went away, obviously, to Sweden for the first leg against Umeå, and I remember being on the bench and Alex Scott scoring that goal, and I remember we was all just jumping up like, oh my God, like it was an unbelievable goal that she scored. It was just incredible. We had Bournemouth was sold out, and it was mad. We was like playing against a professional team, but we was part-time.
You were so young when that quadruple happened that I imagine there's other memories that stand out. What are your favourite ones? I
remember my first experience of winning the FA Cup. Obviously, I won it not playing, but my first experience of actually starting and winning it was we played away at Derby County against Sunderland. And that was my first time starting a FA Cup final and winning it. And yeah, that's probably my most standout memory when I was there. Obviously, we won a lot of trophies. We won the first time we won the WSL and we played Liverpool away. That was our first season, and I remember us getting it at Liverpool. I think we won like 2-0. And that was we was the first team to ever win the WSL as well. So that was probably another memory as well.
You also then moved to Chelsea with Katie Chapman. So what was the incentive to make that move at the time?
Arsenal were still saying semi-pro, and Chelsea were offering the chance for me to go pro. And at the time I was working like 4 jobs and trying to do Arsenal, and then obviously we was only training 2 nights a week at Arsenal, and then they wanted to push it to 3 or 4, and it was just like I couldn't get that balance. If Arsenal would have put a pro contract in front of me, it probably would have been different, you know, but it was that I couldn't turn down the chance to become a professional footballer. And obviously then I knew Katie was coming from Arsenal as well, and Chelsea had the drive and ambition to become pros and to wanting to go and challenge Arsenal, to stop Arsenal from winning everything and becoming the next best thing. And obviously we done really well when we was there. And
you won the double when at Chelsea. That season, have you got any standout games? Well,
yeah, obviously we got to the FA Cup final that season. Obviously the first one at Wembley. It was incredible, the amount of fans that were there, obviously the DJ beforehand, and it weren't even a great cup final, like in the sense of the game. It was just the fact that we'd won it, and we was the first team to ever win it at Wembley. That was the huge statement, I think, from it.
There's a theme in your career with all these firsts, you know, first to experience professional football, first at Wembley. You were also the first player to score the very first goal in WSL. Now, this happened when you were at Arsenal against Chelsea, so this brings your 2 clubs together, really.
Yeah, and I think every striker out there is fuming that I got that title as well. I remember just sticking my foot out and it went in. But Ellen White jumped over the top of it. So when we ran off celebrating, and my mum and dad was down the opposite end, and I remember after the game, my mum and dad going like, "Oh, that was a really good goal that Ellen scored, wasn't it?" And I was just, "Are you joking me?" Like, I scored that goal. And then no one knew, because I think because of the way she jumped and then the celebration, no one could really pin it on it was me. So I was a bit gutted about that one, but...
Did you know that you were going to be a pub quiz answer forevermore?
No, but I'm waiting for that one time that I'm sitting in the pub and that quiz happens and I'm going to say that was me. I'm just waiting for it.
I'm just thinking about West Ham now. It's a different challenge for you. So I'm wondering what your favourite memories here have been.
Oh, one of my good memories this season is obviously beating Man City away. Because that ground has given me such bad nightmares. We'd had 2 disastrous games up there. I'm talking big figures. And Ollie come in, and I remember him saying, after we'd lost up there, I remember him coming to the end of the game, and he was just like, "I promise you, one day we're going to get you a result here against Man City." And I remember just going up, I was fuming at the time. I was like, "Right, Ollie, yeah." And then when we beat him, I remember he coming up to me and he goes, "I didn't expect it to happen this quick."
What does it look like, success here? Is it a cup run again? Is it getting into the top 3?
Yeah, I think, listen, this club's got a lot of ambitions, you know, and I think probably if you look at it this year, is probably the best team that we've had at West Ham, and obviously we're showing that in the league. We want to be pushing for them top 3 spaces, you know. We've got good enough here, you've got fantastic facilities in that here, you've got good enough players to do it. Who's to say we can't do it?
I'm looking at another little rivalry, you and Jill Scott.
Yes, I'm coming
record.
For you, Jill, I'm coming.
Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant. Talk about longevity in the game. 168 WSL appearances. If you look at the all-time list of appearances, Carla, there's a couple of other players you might recognise there. Jill Scott, your midfielder on loan from City, on 175. Remy Allen as well there on 153. Now, you played pretty late on in your career. What's the secret to longevity?
Looking after yourself, both on and off the pitch, as daft as it sounds. I still tell the players now, you know, what you do off the pitch is as important as what you do when you turn up to the training ground. And you see the way that Jill and Remy, for example, look after each other. You know, they're in early, they eat the right things, they eat the right times, they sleep well. I think it's massively important that it's not just what you do when you put your boots on and you walk over that white line. It's all about the preparation in the week, how much sleep you get, how much you look after yourself, what you eat, and the pros do that well.
As Jilly also said, she had to hold down 4 jobs before becoming a professional footballer. Well, you know, you fast forward to today, and quite a few players are paid to play. How much does that help their development as footballers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the game's drastically changed. I think when my final season of playing, I was on about 50 quid a game. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind some of the salaries that the players get paid now. But no, it shows just how far the game's come. And I think it's really important that it continues to grow. But obviously making sure we do so at the right rate rather than going too wild too soon, because that's when you can get casualties. So, yeah, I think it's all about sustainability now.
Now, looking ahead to Aston Villa's remainder of the season, got some big games coming up, and it means that you probably have a say in the title race and the Champions League race with games against Manchester United and Arsenal to come. I mean, as a manager, do you get more nervous or more excited when you play against the so-called bigger teams? It's not just a regular game, is it?
No, I love it. They're the games I absolutely love. You get excited, not nervous, I suppose, and you get a chance to try and compete against these teams. And I'll be really honest, the message will be clear to the players that, you know, the pressure's on Manchester United who are going for Champions League, and the pressure's on Arsenal that are going for the title. The only pressure within our group is we want to try and go and get points. We won't go there as a nothing game end of season. We'll go there and we'll try and get points. You know, we've got to make sure that we do ourselves proud, and we're going to do everything we can to get points from both of those games.
Yeah, okay. So you're going in there, you're not there to just back down. When you look at Villa's long-term future, Gilly said there that, West Ham will try to break that stronghold of the top 3, maybe top 4 teams in the WSL. Is that a similar aim of Aston Villa? Do you think that is a possibility for the club? And, if so, how long does that kind of ambition take?
Yeah, I think being realistic, I think Villa, this is the second season in the WSL, so, it's got to be sustainable. What I would say, this is an unbelievable football club that's built great foundations over the years. They want to do things properly, from top to bottom, not just the women, with the men's team, with, the girls' academy, the boys' academy. It's all very well built, well structured. And it's about each year building on that. It's a project, one that's exciting. What I would say is it takes a bit of work, yes, of course. But like Gilly said, it's about increments to try and climb the table and put pressure on then the gap between the top 4 and the rest. And I think that's something that obviously we definitely want to try and do in the next couple of years.
Carla, it's been an absolute pleasure to have your company on Inside the WSL. Good to see you. Okay, next week, Inside the WSL returns. Same place, same time, 6:30 on Thursday on Sky Sports Premier League. It will be a referee special. So the international break is done. Just 3 more weekends left of the WSL to come. And there's still so much to play for. Exciting, isn't it? See you soon.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.